Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 16. Almost said 15 there. Season 5, Episode 16. So, we're kind of in this slow section. I think I talked about it last time, but a lot of people are saying like this arc, or this season so far has been really slow. And I think it's mostly people are saying this because I guess there's not a lot of action right now, not a lot of like big exciting like taking on the villain stuff and big story related things. And it's like I still don't really get that. I've tried to see it from their point of view. I've tried to understand it. Like, yeah, technically it's a little slower, but I can't understand how people are saying like this is bad. Like the content we're getting is fantastic. The amount of development and depth and everything that's being added, it's been wonderful. And it's just like all these people are just complaining because it's not like just nonstop action against the villains. And that it's not all this big story stuff. When there's actually a lot of very big story stuff happening. So that argument's invalid. But it's not what they want. It's not like, oh, the heroes aren't facing off against the League of Villains here or whatnot. Or there's no... They can't even say there's nothing happening in terms of the growing story with Deku and One for All and everything, because there is. So it's like, I don't get it. Like, this season has been top tier My Hero Academia, and it's like, people are still just bitching because it's not what they want. It's not what they expect, you could say. And it's like, that's the kind of, that's what it really boils down to. People are just like forcing their expectations on this show. And when it doesn't deliver to their to their expectations, they don't like it. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting something out of a show, and there's nothing wrong with liking a certain thing about a show. There's plenty of shows that I watch that I want something specific in. Sure. But trying to trash the show and say like it's terrible now, or it's just gone downhill and stuff like that, and like trying to pretend like this is like irrefutable fact and everything, and presenting it as fact on like social media and stuff, that's where I draw the problem with. If you're making it clear that you're just stating like, oh, I haven't liked where it went, it's just where it's at right now isn't working for me, stuff like that, that's fine. But when you're like going on social media saying like, oh, My Hero's been so unbelievably boring lately, it's become such a terrible show, it's like, or manga, I guess, but the manga's much further on, so I guess it's not really relevant to this conversation at the moment, but you get the idea. When people are acting like that and like trying to present their opinions as more fact, it gets bothersome. And it's like, I'm not saying like everybody has to be positive about it. Again, it's just how you present these opinions. You can find it in any way you want. You can not like where it's at the moment. You can love where it's at the moment. It doesn't matter to me. It's all subjective. It's just that's the thing. It's all subjective. Don't try to paint it as fact, and don't try to force other people to like think like that. And don't shame people. I've seen some people shaming others for liking where it's at. And I want to make clear, I'm not trying to shame people who don't. I'm not trying to shame anyone who doesn't like where it's at. I'm just saying, I don't understand, for one. And for two, just please don't try to paint your opinions as fact. Don't try to like just go off on this entire thing about how the series is like gone downhill and shit. Just state your opinions and it's all good. But anyway, um so Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are training with Endeavor. We're getting to see a lot of Endeavor's experience and wisdom in terms of hero work and how he not only is continuing to improve on his own abilities, but how he can utilize his knowledge of this world to help these students improve upon theirs. Meanwhile, Hawks is meeting with the Meta Liberation Army, um, and it seems like they're planning for something really big in, I believe it was 4 weeks or something like that. A big attack and everything. We got a brief glimpse at who I assume is the leader based on the intro and everything. Um, and it looks like the League of Villains might be working with them at the moment, considering all of the League of Villains seem to be there in that meeting, or well, except for Shigaraki. Um, but like we got to see everyone again. We saw Mr. Compress, we saw Toga, we saw was Dobby there? I'm not 100% sure, but Spinner was there. Dobby might have been absent. But this also explains like why Hawks was talking to the Meta Liberation Army and everything, because we had known he was working with the League of Villains before, so things are making sense. Um, but I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, um, and hopefully this arc continues to be just as great as it has been and just as interesting because the stuff that's happening is clearly very important. I'm very excited to see what they do with these new antagonists. I'm excited to see what they do more with uh, the training with Endeavor and everything, um, and just going forward. So let's just get this started. Hope for the best, and yeah, see what we have in store. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I wonder how many people are going to complain about this episode. After all the complaining that I talked about in the beginning about this series just not being as exciting to them or interesting to them lately. I wonder how many people are going to complain about this episode being probably non-canon, um, like the initial internship episode with Selkie and all was non-canon. I'm wondering if they're going to complain about this one being non-canon as well, unless this one actually is. Or if they're going to complain about it just being like unimportant or just kind of like straying out of the main stories we've been focusing on. I'm just wondering how and why people are going to complain now, and how many are going to. For me, I like this episode because I liked the internship episode with Sue working with Selkie and Sirius. And I really like this one. I thought it was not only a good follow up to that initial episode, but it was good to show this again with Sue and Uraraka working with Neji Ray at Ryukyu's agency again for this work study and being called in to do a team up with Selkie and Sirius. I think that's a fantastic idea and a way to reintroduce this dynamic we already set forward in the past. And I think it was season 2 with, no, maybe it was season 3. Either way, with Selkie and Sue and everything. Getting to see that come forward again. And yeah, this episode definitely had some notable stakes to it, because it seems like what was set up here is going to matter in the future. It seems like they're putting a focus on this drug called Trigger. That is another one of these quirk enhancing drugs that we had already seen with the likes of Kirishima taking on some baddies while working for Fat Gum and all. This is definitely something we've seen before, but now it's like, I guess, stronger and whatnot. But this group of basically just couriers are transporting this shipment over to a country in Europe, and we get Selkie and them working with the Ryukyu agency to put a stop to it. It's a pretty simple episode. The villains aren't really much of any threat. They do get the one up on our heroes at one point, but it's very easy to make a comeback from. But overall, I still really enjoyed it. And there was even a bit of this episode that was a little bit of just fun and frivolity. And I feel like this episode almost also kind of poked a little fun at all the people bitching about how slow this season has been. um, at least it could be seen and taken that way. Because it's basically one of the big themes that was in this episode that was showcased. Not in regards to the entire stopping these drug couriers, but with just the concept that Selkie brought up when he was letting the girls have fun at the beach. It's like, basically, sometimes you just need to rest. You need to relax. You need to just get your head in the right mind space. Have some fun, calm yourself down, and rest. And resting doesn't just mean like laying back and closing your eyes and just taking a break. I mean, it can. But resting can also be reading a book, playing a game, watching something, going to the beach, stuff like that. Resting just basically means just taking a break from the stressors in your life, and relaxing, having fun, doing stuff that just makes you happy and calm and peaceful. And Selkie clearly knows the importance of this. Knowing that they're not going to be able to complete their mission until night anyways, he allows the girls to just have a beach day, to have some fun swimming, playing with the blow up ball, having some barbecue on the beach and everything, just enjoying the day. It's a great idea to keep them refreshed for when they do go out that night to accomplish their mission. And this is the kind of thing that we need in real life for a lot of employers and a lot of companies to understand. There are so many companies and employers out there who will work their employees to death. They just ram into this idea that you need more hours. You need to be working all day, every day of the week and stuff, and have like no breaks and whatnot. And it's dangerous. Like, people can get sick from that kind of overworking. Not to mention, it's dangerous to mental health. People have become depressed and committed suicide because of this kind of thing. And a lot more, especially since this pandemic, and a lot of things were revealed on how toxic this kind of work environment is. A lot more people have been coming forward talking about how, honestly, it would be better to cut the work week down, allowing for more free time, allowing for more rest time, while still keeping the same monetary involvement, or the monetary compensation and everything. And it's been proven that this worked. There are some companies who have done this, who have cut back on hours but retain the same the same pay, and productivity has actually gone up because of it. This has been proven to work. And yet there's so many companies who won't do this because they're afraid they're going to lose money, and to them money is all that matters. And it's really disgusting because so many of these companies are fully willing to put these employees at risk for just poor physical and mental health issues just to accomplish their own monetary goals. And it's sick. It's gross. It's horrible. And so it's like I like seeing it when there are employers out there who will go to bat for their employees and fight for workers' rights. And it's funny because I'm talking about this. This is coming out only a couple days after Digimon, and that was a theme in this week's Digimon episode too. Our return to Digimon Adventure 2020. So it's kind of funny that two things I'm reacting to this week have to do with workers' rights. Well, and to be fair, this episode does of My Hero doesn't, but it got me talking about it. Because Selkie just automatically like looks at these young heroes working for him, these young female heroes, and it's like, you know what, we're going to be busy tonight. Let them have a break. Let them have some rest. Let them have some fun. It'll refresh them. It'll keep them ready. Productivity will go up. And it did. They worked out really well. And although like it could have gone maybe a little smoother, that's more on the enemies than them. And in the end, Uraraka did amazing. Like seriously, Uraraka has been fantastic lately. Like I'm loving her more and more. She's just been fantastic lately. From how she helped stop Deku's just overuse of Black Whip and everything, to this, using her quirk on the biggest thing she's ever used it on, a moving aircraft. Like that's impressive, for one, and for two, it's just I really like how they're developing her character and how they're making sure we see that she's growing stronger in terms of her martial arts, in terms of her quirk ability. She has her new costume, which allows for her to do new things. It's great to see. Because in a lot of shows, like a lot of times these female heroes or these female characters will get the short end of the stick compared to the main male characters. But My Hero Academia goes out of its way to showcase the female heroes just as much, and to showcase their growth and their improvements and their just highlights just as much as the main male character. Yeah, Deku is still the main character. Yeah, he still gets the most screen time. But you still see plenty of stuff with the likes of Sue and Uraraka and Nejire and Momo and so on and so forth, Mina. You get to feel like they're actual well thought out characters and are respected. They're respected, they're given plenty of times to shine just as much. And you could say that about almost everyone in Class A, with a couple exceptions who honestly could use a little more time to shine. But most of the characters in Class A have gotten ample opportunities to really showcase their abilities and just be characters. Even if it's just moments of like dialogue and stuff where they just get to develop themselves. Aoyama, for example, a great example of a character who went from just being a goofy, kind of annoying weirdo to actually having some legitimate depth to him and being actually straight up lovable. Once you find out so much more about his just his mindsets about things. And it's fantastic to see that Horikoshi puts in all this work to make all of these characters so well developed and likable. And I love it. I just genuinely love it. I think it's fantastic. And yeah. yeah, I just think this was a fun episode. It was enjoyable, and it's definitely it's definitely a good kind of moment of rest in a way. I feel like this is probably a sign that we're going to be getting into some heavier stuff, and they wanted to just give us a moment to just step back and enjoy this first. So that probably what's to come after is going to be really insane, really heavy, really exceptionally interesting. So they wanted to give us this moment to just rest as well as kind of develop these characters a little more. Um, but I enjoyed it very much. And as for that post credit scene, I'm like I'm watching it like during the reaction. I'm hearing this new character speak, and I'm like I'm just like making this face like do I know you? Not the character. It's I'm talking about the voice, and it's like I'm just listening. It's like is that Kazuya Nakai? And after I stopped the reaction, I went back and listened to it a couple more times. It's like I think that's Kazuya Nakai. This guy, this blue looking dude, that's got to be Kazuya Nakai. And I looked it up, and it's Kazuya Nakai. It's straight up Kazuya Nakai, and so it's like, okay, that's awesome. I mean, he is one of my favorite voice actors of all time. So, Zoro from One Piece and so many more roles. He's in Blue Exorcist and various other things. It's just every time I hear him, it's just like, okay, I like that. Even if I like his character or not, it's just I just like hearing his voice and things. I like Kazuya Nakai. He's one of my favorite voice actors. What can I say? But yeah, that was interesting, and it definitely seems like that was who the shipment was either heading towards or whoever hired these couriers. But it also seems like that's going to be important. I don't know who this character is at all. Like I've seen a couple characters from the future, like just either like some like panels from manga or fan art or whatnot, um, completely out of context and everything. So I don't know any actual details, but I've seen like some visuals for these characters on social media. But I don't think this character is one of the ones I've ever seen, based on just the little bit we got to see of him in those post credits. Because if I look at it here, we don't get to see a lot. We see like a panned out shot. He's wearing like some kind of like white cloak. It looks like, and the only thing we get even slightly close up is just this like really close up shot of his face. He has like what looks like this like gemstone earring or something. He has blue skin with like these darker blue markings on his face, and that's pretty much all you can see. And he's talking about the salvation of humanity. So I don't know like who this is at all, what his deal is. Is he part of the Meta Liberation Army? Is he something else? He might be in the opening, and I just can't think of it at the moment. I could actually check here. Let me see if he's one of the people in the opening during the parts where it shows the new characters. There's a blue woman shown. Let me mute this so I can just play it, so I don't have to try and skip around everywhere. It looks like there was a blue-skinned woman shown, but okay, there's one specific shot I'm trying to find. Okay, just hold on. Because there's one shot that shows them like standing, staring out a window of a building. Yeah, there's this woman with blue skin and purple hair, but I'm not seeing a guy who looks like that and has those blue markings on the face. So I guess maybe not part of the Meta Liberation Army. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see who this person is as we go forward. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of My Hero Academia, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.